Bueller.
Oh, how'd you do? I passed, but I failed. Yeah! Well, then I'm happy and sad.
Bright as you could have a brother or so. Don't call me stupid.
Who wanted the chicken cross the road? Right!
You'll be teaching remedial English.
Remedial English? Look, I ain't no English teacher. See? Double negative.
What if she wants you to kiss her?
Well, then I guess I'm just gonna have to kiss her.
Amanda Jones is no minor leaguer who will be swept off her feet at the touch of your amateur lips.
Thanks.
This babe has plenty of battle scars.
Apparently it's rusted junk and we're looking at it.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of season 2, where we look at the 1987 John Hughes film Some Kind of Wonderful, starring Eric Stoltz, Mary Stuart Masterton, Leah Thompson and Craig Sheffer.
Maybe you wanted to go out. I'm going out with a girl tonight, and she's beautiful, and everybody's in love with her, and she's going out with me.
Just want you to get off the dime and think about your future.
She's beautiful and obviously in the middle of some emotional shootout to consent to date the human tater tot.
This is 1987. Did you know that a girl can be whatever she wants to be?
I know, my mom's a plumber.
I'd recommend you keep your eyes and your mind off my property.
Cut it out.
Why don't you mind your own business?
Really, it must be a drag to be a slave to the male sex drive.
I didn't say anything about sex.
Oh, want to start a book club with her?
Anytime somebody from the outside lifts a woman from a quat like Jen's, man, we could all find cause to rejoice.
You walk on me, where are you gonna go?
I want to show this girl that I'm as good as anybody else.
I know how you feel.
You've been in love before.
There's a lot of things you don't know about me.
You got a shot to be the first guy in his family who didn't have to wash his hands after a day's work.
Break his heart and break your face. Do you miss me, Keith? Do you miss not being around me?
This isn't the third grade anymore.
Oh, you're only 18 years old.
Then I'm 19, then I'm 20. When does my life belong to me?
That's a good trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it look better than the film.
Ooh, controversial, we'll get to that. The soundtrack to that is a song called I Go Crazy by a band called Flesh for Lulu. And it's no understatement to say that the film really does get its money's worth out of that. It appears about 6 or 7 times in different scenes. Yeah.
Oh.
Obviously you engrossed in it, so you obviously didn't notice, but yes, I did have the soundtrack on cassette.
Cassette?
Yes. For those, not born after a certain time.
Oh my God.
Cassette with spooled magnetic tape, which the
you
don't
don't
record
need to
onto.
describe it. Most of our listeners are our age.
Just go and
anyway.
Google it. Yeah, like most things.
We won't get like the younguns, the youth of today listening to this.
Who do you think the youngest person listening to our podcast? What age group? I don't think this is a podcast for everyone.
30s.
30s is the...
Yeah, I don't really know what a cassette tape is.
All right, okay. Well, for what happens if there's somebody that's like 16 listening to this? They'll go, cassette tape? What are they talking about?
No, people know what cassette tapes are, right? They've become a little bit more retro again, haven't they?
Because my 1975 limited edition Notes on a Conditional Form came with a cassette.
It did.
I know, and I was like, I've got nothing to play this on.
Can't play it.
So I just have to keep it as a collectible. Anyway, right, back to the film. So, Some Kind of Wonderful, directed by John Hughes in 1987. So, Ferris Bueller was 1986. Some Kind of Wonderful was 1987. Obviously, then went on to do other films after that, like She's Having a Baby, which is one of the ones we may consider doing, and then moved on to other films like Home Alone. Anyway, so marks out of 10 for Some Kind of Wonderful.
You're not going to like me.
Oh dear me! I knew this is the reason why you didn't talk to me after watching it. That when I say, "Well, what do you think?" you go, "Well, I'll reserve it for the podcast."
Yeah,
Right.
well, you were trying to get me to do trivia and different bits and bobs, and it's like, no, you spoil the podcast. Just
No,
leave
I was
it.
going to tell you one piece of trivia.
No.
I mean, all right, okay,
No.
fine. We'll leave it later. Trivia time coming up.
You're not going to like me though.
If it's less than 6,
It's a 6,
okay. I get 6.
and you know why I'm just going to give it a 6?
Go on.
I think the storyline was good, but you
Yeah.
know where I think it was let down?
Go on.
Eric Stoltz. I know. Gasp, horror, shock.
We can't proceed with this. We have
I'm
to stop the
sorry, but
podcast.
he just didn't do it for me in that role.
My goodness. Well,
I think because I was used to someone like, Ferris, that's kind of, the cheeky chappy. He's still nerdy, but there's something about him. Do you know what I mean?
there's something about Cameron. There's something about the
Yes.
characters that he's got.
Yeah, but I just think this character was a bit lackluster.
Wow.
It
Okay.
just seemed a little bit wet. I don't know if that's what he was trying to do, be a bit wet. But
Well,
his heart was in the right place, but it just didn't.
Oh, we'll get to. Oh, blimey.
Yeah,
I'm reeling.
Sorry.
Pretty much reeling from that. Weirdly enough, it's a 7.5 from me.
No.
Okay, yeah, but it's a strong 7.5, and there's a good reason for it, because this is probably the definition of a forgotten 80s movie. If you sat someone down and said, right, name me 3 John Hughes films, I guarantee you, out of that 100 people, none of them would say Some Kind of Wonderful.
Oh, I don't know. If they're
Because they just go, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Ferris. They just instantly go for those, because this is a lesser known film.
Right.
There's a reason for this film, but the reason I'm giving it 7.5 is, even though I genuinely love the film, again, watched it many times. It was on my heavy rotation list, and I just kept watching it, but it annoyed me. There was parts of it that just didn't make sense, and the ending didn't make sense. But we'll get to that in a moment, because what I think is that we've got my question, which I think we'll answer after roll call, is whose film is this?
Sorry?
Well, whose film is it? So we've got the characters.
Oh, who's it about?
So we can explain the characters. So you've got Eric Stoltz, who plays Keith. You've got Mary Stuart Masterson plays Watts, his best friend, bit of a tomboy. You've got Leah Thompson playing Amanda Jones.
Nice name.
It is. There's a reason why, if you haven't picked it up already, with Keith, Watts and Amanda Jones, you may get there. For all those music fans, you would actually probably guess it already. And then you've got Craig Sheffer as Hardy Jens, who's the boyfriend of Amanda Jones. But obviously Keith is infatuated with Leah Thompson, and there's also Duncan. It's played by Elias Coates. He's actually credited in IMDb as the skinhead, and you actually get told his name in this. It's Duncan, and I'm like, why didn't you just call him Duncan? Because
I really liked him.
Absolutely.
So who reminds me of?
Go on.
He reminds me of Robert De Niro out of Taxi after he shaved his head.
High praise.
No, he did. He looked like him.
Mr. Coates, if you're listening to this, then that was not scripted.
Even his mannerisms, though, were very much like it.
Okay.
I just thought, oh my God, he's just like, he looks like his son. If he could.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is high praise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not quite sure about the quality of acting, the same level as De Niro, but he just reminded me. He was like the spitting image of De Niro in.
We will get to this, and that is the question. That's the question I thought about on my walk today when I was thinking about the podcast and doing it later. Is who is the focus of this film? Whose film is it?
Whose film is it?
Don't start doing jingles.
No, I won't. That's the last.
I've got to have a jingle for later on.
What about the end bits?
Well, no, I've come up with. Do you want to know what I've come up with, or do you want to do it later? I can't think of anything, so I went for alliteration. So, for those that don't know what we're talking about and are quite used to roll call and trivia time, we're going to have a new bit where at the end, Amanda's going to get 45 seconds to name 5 films by varying recognisable actors and actresses. If you haven't heard this, then I would ask you to pause at this point and go to the Stand By Me podcast,
Or don't bother.
where the totally unscripted and unrehearsed thing happened. And yeah, you can see why this is going to be probably fast become a fan favourite on this. People are going to force forward to the end and then can say, right, okay, I'll go back and listen to the podcast. So who knows? But anyway, I've got it as testing with time. That's what I've come up with.
What?
Testing with time. I'm going to give you 45 seconds on the clock, so I'm going to be testing you with a timer, and it's time.
That's rubbish.
Well, what have you got?
I didn't know we were supposed to be naming things.
Insert tumbleweed. Like roll call and trivia time. Yeah, we don't assign names to anything.
I will have a little think. You've kind of sprung that on me, so yeah.
Okay, I thought you would have thought about it.
No.
Does Amanda know any films? How about that?
Insert.
Yes, probably not. Anyway, on that note, it's time for roll call.
You could call it Little Does She Know.
Look at that blast from...
There you go, because it kind of sums it up.
Little does she know, and this is true. Little does she know what's about to be sprung on her, and little does she actually know about the things that There you go.
It's a double whammy.
Right, okay. We'll get our voiceover guy on it.
Little does she know.
Anyway, this time it is time for roll call.
Roll call.
Okay, so roll call. Let's get to your number one thing that you love about this film then. Eric Stoltz.
Yeah.
Well,
do you know what? I think it lacked depth of character.
Do you think the part was bad or he was bad?
I don't think they'd cast it right.
Well, we may get to that. We may get to that. Well, we will get to that. But yeah.
I'm sorry for all those Some Kind of Wonderful fans out there, but just for me, I just didn't feel it.
I'm one of them.
I really, really wanted to get into the movie because I know how much you love the John Hughes
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuff. So I was really desperately trying to get into it, but I just thought, I can't connect to this. I can't connect to the acting. I just it was just a bit of a void. To be honest.
Okay. Well, Eric Stoltz cut his acting skills on a film called Mask. Do you remember Mask?
No.
Okay, he started with Cher.
The Mask.
Basically, he had a deformity, he had a facial deformity, so he had like a big head and a facial deformity. And Cher was his mum, and this, his kid was getting picked on. And he's brilliant. And, I hate to say it, there's a reason why it got all the accolades at the time. It's just, it was a good film. It was just, it was well acted. Everyone was good in it. He was also in Say Anything, but you would have known that if we listened to the Say Anything podcast, because we called him out on roll call there. Mm-hmm. He was in The Fly 2, so then they made a sequel to The Fly. Okay. He starred with Daphne Zuniga, who another 80s actress who didn't really do an awful lot after the 80s. She's also in The Sure Thing. She's amazing in The Sure Thing. But anyway, he was in Back to the Future, but not.
Eh?
Who was the original Marty McFly in Back to the Future?
Oh, I haven't seen that then.
No, you won't have done, because what happened is they brought him in, and he filmed quite a few of the scenes. The scene where he spots his dad in the diner for the first time, where he's walking around Hill Valley, where the DeLorean bit. They filmed loads of scenes with Eric Stoltz. And the trivia bit was he was an up-and-coming young method actor. He had a bit of buzz around him because of The Mask. And only a few weeks into filming, so they filmed all this stuff, and the director and the writer, so Robert Zemeckis, Bob Gale, realised that something was wrong. Okay, he was a fine dramatic actor, but he wasn't bringing the screwball energy the film needed. I'm just reading this bit here. They came to the studio head Sid Sheinberg with a proposition: let them fire Stoltz and replace him with Michael J. Fox, who they'd wanted all along. He agreed, but the transition couldn't take place right away because Michael J. Fox was filming Family Ties. So they carried on with Stoltz and let him think that he was still in Back to the Future, and he was unaware that his days of Marty were actually decided and it's not going to happen.
I feel a bit sorry for him now.
Well, I think you should.
I don't think he'll listen to this podcast. I don't think he'll be that.
Well, I don't know. He might do. If he might do.
Opinion.
Look, I am a massive Eric Stoltz fan. I'll tell you why, because we'll get to that in a moment. But I think that's really. I think if you look at the scenes, you know, when you said that you didn't click with him, I think that's what happened on Back to the Future. For some reason, people don't click. I think Eric Stoltz, I know Michael J. Fox is iconic now and is definitely with the role, and you can't think of anybody else. But, you know, you see that footage, and I think of putting the Eric Stoltz from Some Kind of Wonderful, or Memphis Belle, which was the next one I was going to say, putting that Eric Stoltz in Back to the Future. I don't know, it would have kind of made it work. I'm not saying anything against Michael Fox, I'm not saying anything against the decisions Back to the Future take, but seriously, I mean, that kind of says he's a lesser actor. You know, give him the part like Memphis Belle. Do you remember Memphis Belle?
I think I've seen it once.
So yeah, I mean, that is an exceptionally good film. I mean, it's really, really good film. I mean, he's a standout in it by a country mile.
Has he got floppy fringe hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Yeah, absolutely. He also played Lance in Pulp Fiction. So obviously, when they took the Mia Wallace round to the drug dealer's house, Lance, the drug dealer, and they did the shot of adrenaline. That was in Lance's house.
Oh right.
He was in the Battlestar Galactica spin-off Caprica.
Did we see that?
I don't think we did, because I think you weren't that fussed about watching Caprica, but it only lasted one season.
Oh, okay.
But he was in it. But he's also in one of the next TV series that I'm going to start watching, because I've heard so much buzz about it recently. I'm thinking I've got to start watching it. Madam Secretary, where Tia Leone plays the Secretary of State. Basically gets asked to be Secretary of State. No, it's a bit like the West Wing, but probably not as good. But then nothing is. No offence to all involved.
Bondage or anything?
Madam Secretary? No. Well, there may be bondage in it. I don't know yet. I haven't watched it. I mean,
you know what these
who knows?
People
Who knows?
in high society are like.
Mary Stuart Masterton, then, on to her. We know she's in... What film is she in? What other film is she in?
Who is she? Sorry?
Mary Stuart Masterton, what?
Oh, the tomboy?
Yeah.
Oh, she was in the other one that we've seen.
Oh, look at these powers of recollection are flooding back. You're going to actually ask me to describe the film that we've sat and watched and done a podcast on?
No.
Yeah.
It's the one with Thingy, who I like.
Thingy that I like, the dog. Oh, this is...
Ozark.
No, wrong one.
Oh, wrong film.
No.
Oh, I'm getting mixed up with the Wilson Phillips daughter.
That's China Phillips, yes.
Oh, right.
We'll get to her in a moment, but yeah. We could be here a while.
We've seen her.
Chances are.
That's right, she's the daughter.
She is.
Yes.
She is also in the 90s film Benny and June, where she starred with Johnny Depp. Not Robert Downey, I've got Robert Downey Jr., you just put that into my head.
Quite nice.
Yeah.
Probably not for you.
Probably not for me, no. And she's also in a TV series that's kind of massive in the States, but we don't really hear of it here, called Blind Spot.
Nope.
But anyway, she's in that as well. I love her as Watts. I mean, I genuinely love all of the performances in it. Just because it's a film that I go back to. Anyway, on to Leah Thompson. What's she most famous for?
Being Marty McFly's mum.
That's right, Lorraine Baines McFly.
See, I got something right.
Okay. Do you want to tell me any other film? I mean, I know this isn't what we call it. She hasn't got a clue. What we calling it?
Little does she know.
Little does she know. Right. Okay. Her first film was Jaws 3D. That was her very first film.
Not Jaws 3.
Jaws 3D.
What's the difference?
Because it was in 3D.
But is it 3 though?
Well, it's Jaws 3, yeah, but it's in 3D.
Okay.
It was in 3D. It's Jaws 3 when it came out, but when it was at the cinema, it was Jaws 3D.
Okay. Is that the one that they showed on the telly? you had to have like your free 3D specs.
Well, we'll get
like,
to
the
that
TV
because we
times.
will do Jaws 3 at some point. So that's the one where I ordered it from the States, and somebody had recorded it in the 3D that was in the cinema. It's very poor 3D. It was the lesser of the two when it came out.
Knock off Nigel.
No, I ordered it from the States, and they sent me a pair of like 3D glasses to watch it with it, and it was all right. It was good for someone who wanted to watch it in 3D for years and years and years. And then they released Jaws 2, Jaws 3, as they called it. They didn't have it in 3D, and Jaws the Revenge, Jaws 4, which is appalling. And then they put Jaws 3, and then they went includes a direct 3D version that you can wear with your super high-tech 3D TV. That's why Jaws 3 is the only reason why we didn't get rid of the 3D TV, because I have to watch that again, and I will watch that again.
So now Amy has the benefit of it in her room.
She does, yeah, and you know, it's fine.
So that's fine. At least it's being used.
She was in Red Dawn, a film called Space Camp. Do you want to have a guess what Space Camp was about?
Is it about space cadets?
Sort of, yeah. And what happens to them, do you think?
They have to go to war.
No. Okay, a group of school children who are interested in space.
They get abducted by aliens.
No, it's even better than that. It is even better than that. They're given a tour of the space shuttle, and they accidentally press the ignition.
Yeah, like it's just
and get blasted into space.
Oh my god!
And the kids and one adult.
How not to teach kids about space travel?
But that's Space Camp. Oh, seriously, Space. I've got good memories. Again, I've got good memories of Space Camp. It's very bad, but it's very good. But I've got to say, she was in Howard, A New Breed of Hero, or as it should be known, Howard the Duck. I loved her in Howard the Duck.
Anthony, who was one of my listeners, from work, he suggested It's So Bad It's Good, Howard the Duck.
Oh, Anthony, I'm all over that. Yeah, I will take that as a listener recommendation, and we will do Howard the Duck
at some point.
I don't know if we can do it as part of this season.
What, a teen movie, is it?
Well, Howard's a teenish.
He's a duck.
It's a Marvel film, so
it?
it'd become part of Marvel if you want. If we do like a Marvel.
It's a Marvel character.
Yeah.
Is he?
Howard the Duck is.
Oh, it's not some guy in a costume. What? Is he an
What, like Iron Man? Oh dear.
No, I mean like.
You don't think?
Is he
You know the
actually a
Guardians of the
proper duck?
Galaxy aren't real. What?
Is it Guardian of the Galaxy?
No.
Oh.
He's in Endgame. He's in Avengers Endgame.
Is he?
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
He comes out of one of the circles at the end. That's drawn by Doctor Strange. He comes out.
Oh my God.
Howard the Duck is fighting Thanos at the end. Howard the Duck's there.
I completely missed that.
You want to watch it now, don't you?
Not really.
Come on. Anthony wants us to watch it. Okay, I think we're going to do it at some point. I don't know when we're going to do it.
Maybe.
This is only episode 4 of season 2, you know. I mean, the first season had 10 episodes.
Okay.
So there is a space to do
Mix it up a bit.
other things.
Yeah. Okay.
She's Having a Baby, the other John Hughes film that I talked about. Kevin Bacon.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's a good film. Anyway, she was also in Caroline in the City. So I think she did about 8 seasons of that. I watched it. It used to be on Channel 4.
Sorry, who are we talking about?
Leah Thompson we're back to.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was
Still
Howard
on.
the Duck.
Well, Howard the Duck may have been in Caroline in the City. And she's also in a TV series, again, that we don't get over here, but Switched at Birth.
Oh my God. I wonder what happened there.
I don't know. Well, who knows, hey? On to Craig Sheffer. So Hardy Jens, the rich kid. Hardy Jens. Jens with 2 N's. Do you remember that?
No.
No? Okay. He was in the Teen Wolf series. He was in A River Runs Through It with Brad Pitt.
Oh,
So obviously, yep.
Was that the dark? No, I'm thinking something else.
Okay.
I was thinking
He was also in a
Sean
film
Penn.
called Fire in the Sky, which I'm gonna say you really should check out. It's an alien abduction film about based on a true story, based on their true story, whatever. But it's still a good film. Again, he's in a series that I didn't watch, One Tree Hill. I don't know if you watched it.
No.
Ring a bell. Elias Koteas, so Duncan. I did actually look at his internet movie, and it must be quite prestigious, but it's full of things that I haven't watched. apart from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He was in, and I remember him being really good in it, and he's really good in this.
Was he a turtle?
No.
Oh.
No, he just played. I think he played a reporter. I think he was, if I remember, he was either the police officer or the cameraman. You can tell it left a lasting impression on me. And moving on to second before last, China Phillips. Give me 2 China Phillips films.
This one?
No, not including this one. We've done them both on podcasts.
I only know the one.
We've watched both of them. Okay, so no, don't look through the notes. I'll just tell you then. Moving Target and Say Anything.
I was about to say anything.
Right, and she's also in Bridesmaids.
Is she?
Yeah, because Wilson Phillips appear at the end of Bridesmaids.
Yeah, sorry, she's not one of the bridesmaids.
No.
I can't imagine her.
And lastly, the dad, John Ashton. He was in Hardcastle and McCormick, a personal favourite 80s series of mine. Most famous for Beverly Hills Cop, along with Judge Reinhold, and Midnight Run, which, if you haven't watched it, with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin, please watch Midnight Run, because it is amazing. So, that is Roll Call. So anyway, back to the film.
It got 81% Rotten Tomatoes.
This film?
Yeah.
There you go.
And 80% from Popcorn.
Right, so I'm roughly in the same sort of zone.
Yeah.
The problems I have with it is it's sporadic. It doesn't... I mean, we'll get to this in trivia time, but it's trying to right a wrong. The whole reason for this film is trying to right the wrong of Pretty in Pink. It's pretty much... He was supposed to be writing this film when he was like doing The Breakfast Club, but he wrote Ferris Bueller instead. He wrote Ferris Bueller in 3 days. He wrote half of it in 8 hours. So John Hughes just sat down and wrote Ferris Bueller. I think we covered that in trivia time because he developed it. But this film is supposed to right the wrong of Pretty in Pink, and we'll get to that because Pretty in Pink's one of the films we're going to do. But it takes Pretty in Pink and what you were expecting to happen and what I certainly wanted to happen in Pretty in Pink. So for those people that watch Pretty in Pink, I know we're going to fast forward a little bit, but it's a love triangle between Blaine, Andrew, played by Andrew McCarthy, Molly Ringwald, and Ducky, played by John Cryer. Ducky's her best friend. Ducky dotes upon her, just really loves her. At the end of that, you know, she doesn't end up the way that you think it's going to end up, and you really wanted it to. When you watch it, you're either Team Blaine or Team Ducky, and you know one of you's going to be very disappointed at the end. So this film is supposed to right the wrong of that film. I think that's how it was written, and we'll get to that obviously when we talk about it. But
do you know what I thought?
Go on, sorry.
The film was like.
Go on.
It reminded me, and I can't for the life of me think of which play it is, but it reminded me of a Shakespeare play.
Oof. So we've gone from 6, but yet it's Shakespearean.
No, it's not the quality of Shakespeare.
Okay.
Just the plot.
All right.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
Okay.
So it's tomboy girl fancies nerdy guy. Nerdy guy fancies
out of his league. Out of his league girl.
Supposedly
yeah.
out of his league.
Yeah.
Who punches above her weight, basically.
Yeah.
Because she wants to be seen as better than what she actually is. And then there's the really nasty, mean, rich guy. And you put them in the pot, and it just falls into like a Shakespearean play. And it's almost like there's a moral at the end of it. Do you see what I mean?
Sort of.
I can't remember which play it is. I know I've read it.
Right. So this was my thinking. If this is Keith's film, so I hope you've watched it at this point. If you, I know we didn't get to the plot, but basically, he wants to ask Leah Thompson out, so Miss Amanda Jones. He wants to ask her out. He sort of is there, poised when her boyfriend does the dirty on her. She finds out that he's cheating. He's there. He pounces. She agrees to go out with him on a date just to make her, the rich boyfriend jealous. Meanwhile, you've got Mary Stuart Masterton as the best friend that's watching all of this unfold. Is kind of like teaching him to kiss and all this sort of stuff, and she's kind of watching him fall for this girl and be obsessed with this girl, and meanwhile she's obsessed with him. So you've got this massive dynamic going on. So if you take the characters, and I'd like to know what you think about each one of these, because Keith is. So we need to look at the start. The start is Propaganda, the song by Propaganda, where Watts is drumming. She's very much a loner. She doesn't get on with her parents at all. It's pretty much a John Hughes character. But you start to see all these characters. You see Amanda Jones snogging Hardy Jens, the rich. You see Keith looking on at her. You see Keith walking on train tracks. The train's coming towards him, and he walks off just at the last minute. You see all of these dynamics, so you get introduced to the characters pretty quickly, as to see what's going on, even before the credits have rolled. But is this Keith's film because he has that sort of revelation whereby he's focused on one thing, and when that one thing is suddenly not the thing that he should be concerned about? Is it that? Is it Watts' film because Watts is this character that's just sitting there watching this all go on? It almost feels like it feels like it's Amanda Jones's film. It feels like her transition is probably the most revelatory. It's the one that when she realises what's important to her at the end, she's the.
Because I guess Keith already knows what's important.
Well, his dad is trying to tell him to go to college, and he's saved up all of this money.
Yeah, but his dad wants him to do stuff that he's not really that interested in.
Exactly.
His dad wants him to better himself and not be a manual worker. He wants him to be like a white collar worker, and kind of go off and not get his hands dirty.
And that's the line that was in the trailer. Yeah. I want you to be the first in the family that doesn't have to wash his hands at the end of every day.
So he's quite happy being like the mechanic and filling gas at the petrol station and stuff. So he's quite happy with where he's at because he understands there's more to life than doing what your dad said and not being interested in stuff. But he's got this natural ability for art. He's got a very good talent, and you just think, why would his dad not want to nurture that? But he basically says there's no money in it. It's a dead end. Why spend all that money at college when there's not a chance of a good job at the end of it? But I don't know.
She goes through. You might think it's Watts. She goes through the range of emotions and the realisation at the end.
Yes, I think she wanted to get in with the in crowd, but she's not from.
She's from the same part, which she lives practically next door to, in the same sort of rough estate-ish.
Yeah, it's Keith.
Keith does.
So yeah, she's completely out of her zone, and wealth-wise, she's not in the same category. And the girls that she hangs around with, she thinks are her friends, but they're not. They're just.
They're all towards the rich.
They're really horrible people. Really horrible.
We can get to that. Hardy Jens is a great character, but there's no story there for him. He's just a bit player in this. He's just the person that comes in and out. Don't get me wrong, I really love Craig Sheff's performance in it because I think it's really, really good. But as a realisation, what happens? He's the rich kid, he controls everything, and right at the end, he gets found out a little bit at the end. Does that change him? Don't know.
He gets threatened.
He gets threatened at the end by.
Wears duffed up.
Yeah, that's a great scene. Anyway,
by Duncan.
By Duncan, yeah, because that's a great scene.
Yeah, I think Duncan should have done stuff.
So moving on to Duncan. Duncan is basically a bully, sort of at the start. Well, at the start he's messing around. Okay, maybe not a bully, but maybe he is.
He's seen as one of these like punk kind of.
He's got
not bothered about schoolwork. Probably, being disadvantaged actually.
He's got his crew around him, and
so
stuff
takes
like
on
this
persona of being the hard guy and the wisecrack and.
Oh, there's no doubt he is hard. I mean, there's no doubt that, you know, there is that you know, sort of air about him. Keith overhears and sees Amanda Jones get put into detention for skipping school. So he decides to hit the fire alarm so he can go into detention. Of course, Amanda Jones sweet talks her way out with the teacher.
No, I can't believe that.
I know,
That was like
shocking.
shocking.
It's a scene that doesn't age well.
That does not age well.
Where she's
That's
like,
really
all the
creepy.
girls really like the way you do your hair, and
Way you
if
wear
you
your
know,
hair,
you know,
yeah.
and
Oh,
it's like,
God.
God, 16-year-old to a teacher. Hello. Well, wait till you watch 16 Candles. Anyway, yeah, I think Duncan goes through one of my favourite bits because he's got this group, but then, you know, you see Keith and him sort of befriend each other in detention, and when Keith needs him for the big date that he's going on with Amanda Jones at the end, Duncan's got connections, he's got friends, you know, his dad works at the art gallery, you know, that's how they're let in. So there's a portrait that's been painted. So Keith paints a portrait of her to hold up, takes her for a fancy meal, takes her for all of these things that he thinks that she would like, and she's like, well, you don't know anything about me. I'm not one of these rich people that needs, you know, I don't need all of this. I'm putting on a show. I'm trying to be somebody that I'm not. You know, you could go back. There are comparisons between Leah Thompson in this film and Molly Ringwald in The Breakfast Club. But again, we'll get to that because obviously we're going to do The Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink at some point this season. But Duncan steals the show at the end. Keith is invited to Hardy Jen's party, so after he goes on the big date, he does say, do you want to come around? Do you want to come around to the party? It's all a big setup. That's one of the reasons I marked the film down as 7.5. He knows it's a setup, so why is he going to go? I still don't understand that, because it doesn't make an awful lot of sense. Is it because he knows Duncan's coming?
Yes.
Right, but you don't. The thing about it is,
He's arranged the whole thing. He's one step ahead.
yeah, because it kind of felt like he didn't know at the start, and then he befriended Duncan, and then finally he got Duncan. And I'm like going, that bit when you don't know that you're going to get backup, you're just going to go there and basically going to get your ass handed to you because, you know, it's going to be awful. All your friends are going to beat you up. I don't think he knows. There's a time when he doesn't know he's got backup, and I was thinking, why are you agreeing to go to the party? It's ridiculous. It doesn't make an awful lot of sense. It makes sense when you know that he then knows that Duncan's coming. So what happens is he gets to the party. Hardy says that he's basically going to duff him up. Amanda Jones, so Leah Thompson steps in and goes, look, I'll come back, and he goes, and Hardy goes, no, it's not going to be as easy as that. You're going to have to beg. No, you're going to have to beg. And then the door bursts open and Duncan comes in with all his friends in possibly the best scene of the whole movie, and goes, no, I don't think that's going to happen. And basically, yeah, basically saves Keith in that. You've got these strange things like Watts agreeing to be the driver. So Watts says to Keith, do you know how to kiss her? You're going on this date with Amanda Jones, do you know how to kiss her? And they kiss, and it's really, really passionate. And then she backs off because she gets all blushed, you know, and he says, oh, you're blushing. And, you know, she's like,
he's just so thick.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, you get, yeah, he should know right at that point, because Watts ends up driving them around in this like vintage car and taking them on the dates, and you're like thinking, why would you do that? Why did she do that? Do you understand? Do you have any explanation why she did that? Because that's the reason I marked the film down a whole point, because of that. It makes no sense whatsoever. What, to keep an eye on him? To make sure that he doesn't get hurt? Was she the one that was going to come in at the end and start laying down the law if Duncan wasn't available? You know, well, I'm sure she could. You know, but
She should have a drumstick somewhere.
yeah, with your drumstick up your nose, yeah. So, you know, there's just some things that annoy me. When they come out the house, he's spent presumably, I think it was mentioned he saved up £8,000, and he buys.
It wasn't that much.
It was.
It wasn't.
It was. I think it was mentioned somewhere in the film. It was that much. Anyway, he spends it on these he spends it on this pair of diamond earrings because he sees Leah Thompson's character borrow some diamond earrings. No, he saved up more to go to college. He'd need a lot more than 1,800 quid at college. Right. Anyway, he buys them because he sees that Amanda Jones has had to borrow for a friend and said, you shouldn't have to borrow anything. So he buys her these diamond earrings, gives her them on the date. So they leave the party at the end. I know I'm skipping to the end, but it's just, the discussion before we get to actually the trivia. She takes out the earrings.
No, he tells her when he gives her them, you've got my future in your hands.
That's right, future in your hands. So when he comes out, he walks down the drive. Watts is by the car. Suddenly, this realization comes from seemingly nowhere.
Yeah, it's random, isn't it?
It's totally random. It doesn't fit in with the rest of the film. It's almost like, oh God, we forgot about the plot to do with Watts and Keith.
Oh, flashback. Oh,
quick, just put a flashback where he thinks about the kiss and thinks about all these other things. He does that, sees her. She runs off. Leah Thompson goes, takes the earrings out, and then says, I think there's somebody more deserving of these, and puts them in his hand. He runs after her down the road. It's quite it's quite romantic. He runs after the road. They kiss, and he gives her the earrings. He gives her the earrings instead.
Yeah.
Now, I'd love to love this film more. And the reason I can't is because those are minor annoyances. It makes for a good film to have Watts drive them around. It makes for a good film to have Watts at the end and to have some sort of romantic thing. It makes for the film to have the complete opposite of Pretty in Pink, because he doesn't end up with the person that you think he's going to end up. He ends up with the person you actually want him to end up with. And that's not what happens in Pretty in Pink. Sorry for all you Andrew McCarthy fans out there, but that's not how Pretty in Pink should have ended. But it did end that way.
Spoilt it now.
Well, I think you'd watched it before, so there's a lot. Again, this may fall under the Amanda doesn't remember bit, whatever we're going to call it at the end.
Little does she know.
Little does she know. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Remember that.
Yeah, but anyway, let's file it under Amanda doesn't remember it. But yeah, so that's my love of the film, and that's my annoyances of the film, and I would love to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I'd love it to be up there. It's no Ferris, it's no Breakfast Club, it's no Pretty in Pink, but few things are. But it's not, with a better direction. Oh God, it could be.
Do you know what I thought was really funny?
Go on.
The youngest sister.
Oh yeah. Well, we didn't roll call her. Sorry.
No, but
okay.
She was so funny. She had some cracking lines at the start of the film. She got like a little old head on a pair of little shoulders, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Oh, so funny.
I think I'm missing one essential food group in this meal. Yes. You're like, she's great. What do you think of China Phillips in the film?
What is she?
She plays the other girl.
Oh,
the girl that he's
cheating on the other one with, yeah.
And I think it's unfair on China Phillips because she was really good in Moving Target. She was good in Moving Target. What happened to China? I mean,
she was the vet's assistant, wasn't she?
Exactly, and she was wonderful in that film. And you're thinking, she's wasted in Say Anything. She's wasted in this film.
Maybe she was supposed to have more lines and they just cut it.
No wonder she went, do you know what? I'm gonna form a band. And I'm thinking, well, fair play to you, because you weren't being treated well. You were the other woman in two quite, as I'd say, iconic films. Say Anything.
She could have played the role of the tomboy. She could have played
Ross. Easily.
And she could have drummed.
That's taken a lot. That's taken a lot from Mary Street Masterton, though, because she is very good. So yeah, that's Say Anything. That's the film. Have you got anything else to add to it?
That's not Say Anything. That's Some Kind of Wonderful.
Oh, sorry, that's Some Kind of Wonderful. I've got Say Anything in my head now because I've got people lifting stereos above their heads.
Oh dear.
So yeah, what do you think? Is there anything?
I think that's it, really.
So should we move on to trivia time?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, because we've got to fit in a new section at the end. So let's do trivia time.
Trivia time.
Okay, so the director, Howard Deutsch, Deutch. I looked how to pronounce it. Deutsch. Howard Deutsch and Leah Thompson fell in love while filming this film. and now they're married, and they have been married.
Yeah, it took about 18 months, didn't it, after he asked her out? But there was quite a big age gap, wasn't there?
Yeah. So while it's not directed by John Hughes, it's a John Hughes film.
Yeah.
So it's produced by John Hughes, it's written by John Hughes, it's just been directed by somebody else.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Home Alone, it's directed by Chris Columbus. Anyway, onto some great ones. I tried to narrow them down. So Duncan, Elias Cotis improvised many of his lines and his actions. I think the director just gave him free rein and so create the character of Duncan. When Duncan puts his head on Amanda's shoulders, when he gets in and Keith then takes over, and so Keith says, "I'll handle it," Elias Cotis puts his head on Amanda Jones's shoulder on that. And because she wasn't expecting it, the laugh that you see in the film is real. She doesn't know it's coming. But he does play a great character. He plays a very lovable character.
I really liked it when they were in detention and Keith's there drawing like a really arty picture and stuff. And then Duncan has scraped something into the desk and lifts the thing off.
Pounds the desk out, doesn't he, in order to get
screws and turns it to show Keith, and Keith's like,
This is what my girlfriend would look without skin.
Yes.
That was it. And it was great. It's really good. Molly Ringwald was offered the role of Amanda Jones, but she refused it, ending her successful relationship. She never starred in a John Hughes film after that. I looked that I think he took it personally, which is why she never appeared in a John Hughes film again. But let's not go down that road, because I don't think it's, Molly Ringwald is pretty much John Hughes. No, it's pretty much typifies the whole John Hughes film. She's the star of 16 Candles. Okay. She's one of the stars of The Breakfast Club. Yeah. She's the star of Pretty in Pink, so on. So, the three main characters have names relating to what band? Amanda Jones, Watts, Keith. You want to have a guess? God, there's loads of people at home. Loads of people listening at home. Loads of people. You might be at home, you might be in the car. You might have ended lockdown, you might be on the beach. Who knows? But,
Jones?
No. Miss Amanda Jones, the title of the song the band play, but Watts and Keith are members of the band.
Rolling Stones?
Yes.
Oh.
So they had a hit with Miss Amanda Jones, which they play it's the bit where everyone's getting ready.
Yeah.
So Watts is named after Charlie Watts and character Keith Richards. Most of the extras in the film that play the bad kids in the detention scene with Duncan weren't thugs at all. They were just football players from the high school in the area.
Nice.
They were chosen mostly because they could tower over the actors and actresses and look menacing.
Okay.
So Elias Cotis was discovered by John Hughes because he was auditioning for the film that came next, which was She's Having a Baby, and he looked at him and went, "You're going to be ideal to play Duncan in this film," and just basically said, "We need you in this film."
Okay.
So that makes a lot of sense. While most critics dismiss this movie as a Pretty in Pink clone, Roger Ebert of Siskel and Ebert fame, the famous reviewers in the US, who was notoriously soft much of the time, gave the movie 3 stars. He said, "Some Kind of Wonderful is yet another film in which Hughes and his team show a special ability to make an entertaining movie about teenagers, which is also about life, about insecurity, about rejection, about learning to grow. I sometimes have the peculiar feeling that the kids in Hughes movies are more grown up than the adults in most of the other ones." Pretty much sums up John Hughes, really. Authority's bad, parents are bad. Not all of the time, but so already lined up. You had before when there was another director called Martha Coolidge who was replaced by Howard Deutsch, and she'd already cast Kim Delaney as Amanda Jones, but Kyle MacLachlan as Hardy Jens, Kyle Dale Cooper, was going to be Hardy Jens in this film.
Really?
Yep. When Coolidge dropped out before filming was to begin and Deutsch replaced her, he replaced Delaney with Leon Thompson after Eric Stoltz suggested her for the role, and replaced McLachlan with Craig Sheffer. Keith sets off the fire alarm in order to be put in morning detention with Amanda in Breakfast Club. John Bender is in Saturday detention for setting off the fire alarm. I don't think that's a particularly good piece of trivia. It's just 2 fire alarms are set off in 2 John Hughes films. That's appalling. Obviously, we know Wilson Phillips' lead singer China Phillips, daughter of Mamas and Papas Michelle and John Phillips, and sister to One Day at a Time's Mackenzie Phillips, who stars in this movie as Mia. Not a major character, but she does have a cameo. So China Phillips did have some sway. She had a sister in there. This is the first of John Hughes' directed or produced films to take place outside Chicago. He's very into Chicago.
Okay.
So it's filmed in Los Angeles. After John Hughes made Pretty in Pink, he was unhappy with the ending. He wanted Andy to get together with Ducky, but the film's ending of Andy getting together with Blaine was forced upon him by the studio. In retaliation, Hughes made this film with the ending he envisaged for Pretty in Pink. He wanted Morley Ringwald to star it as well, but when she refused, Hughes took it personally. It's affected end in the working relationship. In an earlier version of the script, Keith proposes to Susan, who is Watts' real name. So Susan Watts, because of Watts. During the kissing scene between Keith and Watts at the garage, when Keith says you're blushing, she was blushing for real. She was a little embarrassed because Keith and Leah Thompson were dating in real life.
Oh.
Yep, so it was a bit embarrassing. Anyway, on to some other ones. As I said to you, Hughes was writing Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Deutsch and Hughes would work on some kind of wonderful script late at night, and Deutsch would fall asleep on the couch in their office while Hughes typed up rewrites of the script. He said he would stay up all night, music blasting, and like 5:30 or 6 a.m, he'd hand me what was supposed to be a rewrite of Some Kind of Wonderful. We needed 5 pages and it was 50 pages. I said, what did you do? What is this? And he goes, oh, I didn't do that. I did something else. Tell me what you think. And it was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He wrote the first half of the movie in like 8 hours and finished it a couple of days later.
Nice.
Leah Thompson was offered the part of Amanda Jones but turned it down. I didn't want to play second banana, and the Meryl Stewart Masterton part was better, she said. I was very jealous. However, when Howard the Duck came out in 1986 and tanked at the box office, Thompson felt she needed to do damage control on her career. Deutsch asked Stoltz if he knew Thompson, which he did. They worked together on Back to the Future before Stoltz got fired, so there had an affinity there. Stoltz agreed to deliver the script to the house, and she finally agreed to do it. She said, I was so freaked out because Howard the Duck was such a brutal bloodbath, said Thompson. I was so afraid to look the crew in the eyes. I cried the first day of shooting. I was like, I don't know how to act. I just felt so vulnerable and beaten. In a way, it was like getting on a bicycle after you fall down. Yeah, and I just thought that's, you must feel bad. I genuinely like Howard the Duck. Here, there, I'll say it. I genuinely like the film. I think it's a good film. It's of its time, and I can see why people didn't like it, but he's still a Marvel character. So, Deutsch had such a crush on Thompson that he kept having a picture painted. So the picture that was painted that hung in the art gallery, the director and actress met on the set, fell in love, and got married. They're still happily married today, though they didn't start dating until filming wrapped. In a pivotal scene during Keith and Amanda's date, Keith takes her to a museum and reveals a painting he did. The truth is, the director was so smitten with her, he commissioned about 10 paintings.
That's a bit creepy.
There are all these paintings, they're all lined up on the soundstage, and Howie kept saying, no, it's not good enough. They must have spent $40,000 on those paintings. Thompson said she kept 2 of the paintings. I should have kept the other ones, because people tell me that they're touring the prop house at Paramount, and they're like, I saw 9 paintings of you at the prop house. I should have kept them all, she said. And lastly, in the final draft of the script, dated a month before filming began, Keith called Drummer Girl by her real name Susan and tells her he loves her. In the movie, we don't find out her real name, and the I love you part doesn't occur. Both in the movie and the script, he gives her a pair of diamond earrings and says, you look good wearing my future. In the film, the credits start to roll, but in the script she says, these babies go back in the morning, you're going to art school. He replies with, we'll keep one and make it a ring, insinuating they should get married. Sensing his uncertainty, she says, "You don't want to think about that one, do you?" They continue to banter for a page more, and how that moment was her first kiss, and then Keith jokes that she did it wrong. So yeah, and there you go. It's trivia time.
Oh, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, great. So now we're on to.
Is this the bit?
Yeah, this is the bit. This is the bit. I'm going to get the timer on the phone.
Oh God! Little does she know.
Little does. Do you want to go for something with her?
You could do it a bit kind of like There Will Be Blood kind of style. It's like.
Little does she know.
Yeah.
No, that just sounds weird.
Or little does she know.
Okay.
It doesn't work, does it?
Little does she know. The emphasis is on the no, really. it's on the knowledge. So, we did so well with Michael Douglas last time.
I think I did.
Well, not really.
No, I think I did.
No, okay, good. As long as you did.
Yes.
The listeners have their view, and you have yours. That's great. Should we start you off with an easy one? So I've got 45 minutes. I'm going to find some sort
45 minutes?
Sorry, 45 seconds. Right, do you know what? I'll give you 45 minutes if you want. It's fine.
I might still not get the answers.
We sat here for a while going, I'm sure he was in that thing with the snowman. You know, they were high on a hill. Oh, God. And then the cloud comes down.
You're being mean.
That's true. Oh, you're about to see what's going to happen here now. Right, so I'm going to find some funky music to put over this. I haven't done that yet, so
Okay.
but I do all the producing
I don't
afterwards.
think you need funky music.
But I'm gonna do 45 seconds. I was gonna nick the countdown music, but I thought there'd be copyright
Not allowed.
problems, and that's 30 seconds, not 45. And I just think 30 seconds. Try 2.
You might have to up it from 45.
So, 5 films.
Oh God. Yeah.
Sounds like the under pot mass, doesn't it?
I'm really nervous. Okay.
Well, you shouldn't be.
I
You should be
am.
nervous about the section 3, but not the first one.
There's 3 bits.
I'm going to ask you 3 actors and actresses.
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get our
I'm
money's.
so sorry for this, listeners.
We're going to get our money's worth out of this. This is how we're going to monetize it, because people are going to listen in, going, "You've got to listen to this woman." She literally
I
doesn't.
don't want to go viral.
Well, yeah, it may happen. Who knows? Are you ready?
No, but go on then.
45 seconds to name me 5 films with Tom Hanks.
Big.
Yes.
Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2.
No.
Toy Story 3.
You can have one Toy Story. Go on. No sequels.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Yes.
You've Got Mail.
Yeah. One more.
Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, 19 seconds 84.
Did I do it?
Yeah.
Thanks. So that was the easy one. Oh,
Wow.
God. Right, okay.
No. I think the next one's pretty easy.
Oh.
But now I know where you are. Crikey, you're a lot better than you. Right. 45 seconds to name 5 films by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, you're joking. Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
Beach.
Yes. Look at you getting the obscure ones already.
Oh, what's the one? It's the Art Deco period. It's the with the champagne fountains and things. Oh God, what's it called?
Well, the what I can't do is help you.
I only watched it the other month.
Did you? Without me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's got Mr. in the title, is it?
No.
No. Oh.
It's the name of him, I suppose. It's definitely his surname in there.
Oh God, that's going to bug me now.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Caprio's going to.
You might want to extend that a little bit.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll give you the rest of the minute. Think about another film.
Oh, I am trying.
Don't think about The Great Gatsby, which is what you're
Oh,
trying to
that
think
was
about.
it.
Yeah, so go on, keep going.
There was the one where he changes identity a lot.
Yes.
He's the pilot.
With Tom Hanks. Okay, yeah, that's it.
God, I can't
I'll give you
remember the name
a minute 5. It was Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, that was it.
Okay,
Would that have been 5?
that would have been 4.
Oh, one more.
Oh, go on, yeah, well, the clock stopped, but yeah, let's.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Titanic.
I was wondering when you were going to get to, like, you know, until Endgame dethroned it, the biggest film of all time, you know. Oh no, until Avatar that knocked it into number 3. So not Wolf of Wall Street, not Gangs of New York.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Django. Is it Django?
Django Unchained.
Yeah.
The Revenant.
Who's in that?
Yep.
I've not watched that other one.
It's in quite a bit. Anyway, are you looking forward to number 3 now?
No, not really.
Well, it's not bad. It's an actress. So, are you ready? I'm going to start it. 45 seconds to name me 5 films starring Meg Ryan.
Oh, God.
Oh, 2.
You've got Mail, Sleepers in Seattle.
Yes, right.
When
good.
Harry Met Sally.
See, look at you. Not even 10
probably
seconds.
it.
No, keep going.
That's it.
What about where she played a helicopter pilot
No
with
idea.
Denzel Washington? No. Oh. No period dramas in there. No, you can think of. No. Oh, okay. So, nothing else by Meg Ryan. Are we just gonna?
No.
Right.
She didn't do any more.
She didn't do any more films. Okay, that's fine.
It was The Orgasm and the 2 films
That's
that
what
were
she's-
basically the same as each other.
Right. Wow. Meg Ryan, if you're listening, yeah, okay. So you didn't remember the film Courage Under Fire?
Nope.
No. Okay. Didn't watch it. Oh, those are the only 3 I had. Do you want to do one more?
God.
Do you want to do one more?
I don't think the listeners need to do that, but yes, okay. Let's
Ah,
have one
right.
more.
Okay. Let me think about.
Oh, you
about
haven't
one.
even thought about this?
No, I will do. Okay. Right. I'm going to give you an easy one to finish with.
Oh God, right, okay.
Right. You ready?
Yeah.
5 films, 45 seconds, starring Brad Pitt.
Oh, the Vampire Diaries one.
Nope. Think again.
Yes.
It's not sort of what it's called.
Not the Vampire Diaries. The one.
Oh, the one with the guy with the sharp
With
teeth. The guy that doesn't like
Tom
the light.
Cruise.
Yes. And what's it called? The Vampire Diaries.
I can't remember. Oh no.
I only need to get 5 Brad Pitt films, and I'm
God.
25 seconds in, and I can't think of one. Come on.
Oh, there's the one with his ex-missus Angelina Jolie.
Yes, it is.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Is
That's
it?
right. There's one. I'm just going to keep it going. I just want to. In fact, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop the
Oh,
clock.
we was in the one with the baseball bat with the war films with thingy that directed it.
Yeah, and that we went to a fancy dress party,
Yes.
dressed up as.
Inglourious Bastards.
Okay.
That one.
Okay.
Yeah, is that it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's 2. The one you were thinking of with Tom Cruise was Interview with a Vampire.
That's the one.
Yeah.
See?
Still going to get 3 more. Brad Pitt films. Come on.
Oh, Fast and Furious.
Oh dear me. No. Oh my goodness.
What about
This is great. This is the best one. See, I thought I'd start with.
Oh God, no! He was in some kind of sequel things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got the guy with the grey hair. I can't remember his name.
The guy with the grey hair.
Yes.
Richard Gere.
No. Thingy.
Wilfred Bramble.
Very good looking, nice voice.
George Clooney.
Got married recently. Yes, George is with him.
Yes. In what?
Are
Are there any others?
Yeah, there's.
Are there
quite a
9 of
few.
them? Are there 9 of them? There are 10 of them, or 11 of them?
Oh, is that? What?
Is he part of Ocean's 11?
That's it.
Oh God, I couldn't give you much
That
more of
one.
a clue. Right.
Um.
Okay, you've still got 2, I think.
Oh God. Who are we do? Brad Pitt. God. I think I'm exhausting my memory.
There's no
bank.
pressure anymore. I think time is off.
No, Brad Pitt though.
Okay, I'll give you a clue. You shouldn't. The first rule is you shouldn't talk about it.
Talk about what?
That's the clue for the film. The first rule of it is you shouldn't talk about it. Okay, I'll give it to you. I'll put you out of your misery. The first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
Oh, was it Fight Club? Oh, he was in a Guy Ritchie one as well, wasn't he? He played like the really funny Irish character. What was that film? That wasn't Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
No,
was
it's
it?
the other one.
Oh God, I can never remember the name of that.
Snatch.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was his first film? Can you remember?
Oh, something.
He was in a film with Juliette Lewis called California, but that was his second film. His first film that he ever appeared in was with Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon in Thelma and Louise.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Okay, so yeah, Brad Pitt. There we go.
What else has
You've
he
been
been in
reduced
then?
to. Oh, Brad Pitt, Fury. Yeah, he was in Snatch. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which we just watched recently.
Oh, yeah, that
so you
was
could have
quite
had that for
good as well,
DiCaprio as well. Yeah, loads of films. But you got the main ones. Well, I got the main ones. I just told you what they were. Anyway, so yes, there we go.
So, Little Does She Know. Is that a fair title?
Yeah, I think we'll try and come up with something. We'll try and come up with a podcast.
Okay.
I don't know, a podcast, a jingle for it. But yeah, there we go. So we're about the usual mark that we finish on that. And
I'm sorry I had to put you through that, listeners. It's just...
do you know what? I think they're just waiting for the next one. In fact, that we might get a recommendation is you stop talking about the movies and just just test her for 30 seconds.
Maybe
30
you
minutes.
can like suggest some actors or films. Not suggest the films.
What if
suggest
somebody
actors.
sends them to us? We've got access to both things. Yeah, is there any chance that Amanda could do George Clooney? And then suddenly you know it's going to be George Clooney. No, I spoke like that, and
No.
I don't know how our listeners speak. They may be very well spoken. I know some of them are. Shout out to Dom and Joe and people like that. Very well spoken. So yeah.
Check you out with your two fans.
Thanks. So yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna call you Two Fan Charlie. It sounds like a character.
Oh dear, she's getting giddy now. She's guessed some films and it's taken a lot out of her. So this is the emotional response to it. Anyway, the next film we haven't decided upon. We have a choice of 3. Really, we think we need another one to take us to 8. Well, to take us to 8 for this season, I think. So we've definitely got Pretty in Pink. We definitely got Breakfast Club, but we're leaving them towards the end. We're going to have some guest stars with us on the Breakfast Club. We're going to have another podcast that we've been on. We're going to invite them to join ours for the Breakfast Club for that one. So I'm really looking forward to that because it's definitely one of my top 5 films of the 80s. I think we're going to do She's Having a Baby at some point. The film that John Hughes made after this.
Is this John Hughes season then or something?
Well, it sort of is. There's a lot in it, but I mean, it's not. If you're talking about the 80s, that's pretty much where I am. But yeah, maybe Howard the Duck, especially as Anthony wants it. So yeah, I'm going to trust the listeners' judgment.
Oh God, right.
You're
Apparently
gonna
it's so
love
bad
that.
it's good.
You're
right,
going to
okay.
love that. It's so good. Leah Thompson's good in it, despite what people say. It's got Jeffrey Jones in it as well.
Don't know.
Edward Rooney
Don't know.
from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the principal.
Oh, him.
Edward Rooney.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it's also got a very, very, very young Tim Robbins. Married to Susan Sarandon. Tim Robbins. Mystic River with Sean Penn, where he gets the wrong guy that he thought's killed his daughter. He plays the shy retiring one that you think has actually done it. And
Oh, vaguely.
yeah, Tim Robbins is just...
I loved that film though.
Yeah, Bob Roberts is Tim Robbins for me. But anyway, there we go. That's the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time. Please feel free to go and check out Amanda's encyclopedic knowledge of Michael Douglas films on the other podcast if you've enjoyed this one. It's definitely well worth a listen.
Right at the end.
As will the next one. But anyway, thanks very much for listening, and we will see you again next time. So, cheerio.
Doodle pip.
Rusted Junk. Rusted Junk. Rusted Junk. The forgotten 80s movies. The forgotten 80s movies.